Hello and welcome to Seven Bridges Radio, home to probably the UK's #1 lacrosse show, Unnecessary Guffness, presented to you by Tom, yes he is Polly Tully Dies, Higgs, half man half zebra, and myself, Darragh. And no, I will not tell you where Pot of Gold is. This is our debut show, hope you enjoy.
Right, so it's over to the lacrosse guys. Who have we got? We got Tom, Darragh and Andy. Good afternoon, gents.
Hey, you're right.
Absolutely.
Hey Steve, how's it going?
Not too bad.
How are you?
Not too bad. I'm going to jump out and I'm going to leave you guys to it. After all, this is your specialty. I'll just be tuning in to see what I can learn. Have a good half hour, gents.
Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah. Hello, welcome back to Unnecessary Guffness, probably the #1 lacrosse radio show in the UK. I'm Tom. I'm here, joined as always with Darragh and Higgs. If you're just coming through the basketball and the hockey guys, and we do hope you stick around, learn a bit more about lacrosse. If you've joined us specifically for the lacrosse, then thank you. We appreciate the love.
All three of them.
There you go. That was it. That was my intro. I feel all professional now. That was all completely scripted.
Beautiful. Got a bit of the luck of the Irish in there as well, so
Yeah.
what can go wrong, eh?
How is everyone then? How are we all feeling?
Good. Yeah, it's sunny in Ireland for once. Who would have thunk?
It's sunny in Newcastle.
It's cold, but it's sunny.
Yeah. Nobody's found my goal yet, so I'm pretty happy. Other than that, yeah, we're good. We're good, lads. We're still laxing. There's some incredible games and a lot of stuff happening. So excited to chat about it with you lads.
Yeah, very excited. I think I mentioned just before, Danny became from lacrosse, and it's good to have you back. If you are interested in this stuff, then please do give us a follow on our Instagram. We'll be trying to update as much as possible about shows and other segments and whatnot on there. I think just a nice little segue into our first section. We put a little question up on our Instagram story, and I think I'll let Darragh tell you about this segment, because after all, it was his idea.
So right, here we go. It's pretty simple. It's called the Breakfast Club. If only we had a jingle. Breakfast Club. Yeah. So what it is we pick a player every week, and we decide what they would have for breakfast. I know from the outside it might sound a bit yawn, but it is good crack, and I'm pretty sure we have some cracking answers. I'll kick it off. So the player we have this week is the PLL El Presidente, Paul Rabil, one of the finest players in the world, and I think he would have for breakfast. Well, number one, I'm going to set the scene. I think he's going to be wearing a fedora. I think he's going to be having an open white shirt, get the chest hair out. Team chest hair right here.
Okay.
He's going to be wearing those high thigh shorts, you know what I mean?
Just very slightly too short.
Yes.
Very slightly too short.
If you sit down, it's leaving nothing to the imagination.
Bring back short lacrosse shorts. Bring back short lacrosse shorts.
Yeah.
Make lacrosse shorts short again.
Yes, that's our new campaign. So that's a kind of visual image I have him there on the breakfast table, maybe the breakfast bar with the fedora, white shirt, sunny day. And I'm thinking he's going to have, because he's a vegan, he's going to have a nice quinoa salad.
He's definitely a salad boy.
He so is. Nice, fresh, good antioxidants. But he needs more antioxidants, doesn't he? So what's he going to do? He's going to smash together a smoothie with goji berries, a superfood. How about that?
You know, I can see that. I can see it. He's definitely a smoothie guy. He definitely overcomplicates his breakfast. 100%. He ain't just having toast. Not him.
Too many carbs.
I think looking at the answers we've got on the Instagram story, we've got eggs and a protein shake, which I think is like a sensible answer. I can see Paul Rabil, an egg guy. I mean, I know he said he's vegan, but I still think he has like 12 hard-boiled eggs before a match. 100% he has hard-boiled eggs. I think my favourite answer we got is a bottle of Bucky and 20 Benson and Hedges. Which
that's my diet.
Well, I'm just thinking that might explain his performance last season. No Paul Rabil hate. No, he wasn't playing like he had a bottle of Bucky.
He'd be doing more though. Yeah,
he'd be doing more probably. Be on the pitch a bit more.
What else have you come up with then, guys? What are you seeing?
Oh no, I'm sticking with the eggs. I know he says he's vegan, but 100% he loads up on eggs. He's one of them. He could even be a raw egg straight in the glass down the app.
Oh yeah. I think probably a couple of years ago he was like avocado and eggs, whole grain bread, all that sort of thing. But now that he's vegan,
superfoods.
I don't know, like granola with oat milk, maybe something like that. Oh. Something like so bland.
You think he's bland?
No, I think probably for breakfast you need to be bland, and then he gets in with a kale and blueberry smoothie or something like that with 7 or 8 scoops of protein in.
I'm pretty sure he's done some cooking videos. He's done some of those that athletes do, the cooking videos, so they just put a load of crap on, just as much meat and as much lettuce and as much whatever as we can. I mean, I should have watched one of the videos before doing this, but I prefer to just guess.
I did watch for that video.
Okay.
So I actually have what Paul Rabil does have for breakfast here.
Okay, what is it? Go on.
So, as both Darragh and I guessed, he does have a shake. He has spinach, mixed berries, protein scoops, smoothie, shake. He does have a vegan, gluten-free, toasted chocolate cereal thing with oat milk.
Sounds terrible.
And he has a sweet potato.
For breakfast. He's worse than I
thought.
Sweet potato in the morning.
Sweet potato in the morning. I mean, there's plenty of stuff in there, like vitamins and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Gets in the gym, has a big workout in the morning, burns that sweet potato straight off, and then gets on with his day.
Nice.
We just had a message here from the president of Northumbria Lacrosse, Ross Bennett, who says full sirloin steak and some hash browns.
Yeah, he's not a Rambo here.
That's Matt Rambo as a full sirloin. Greg Gorenlian, full sirloin steak, hash browns.
With a full Irish for dessert, for breakfast.
Half time.
Right, we're getting off Rabil.
Right, yeah. Well, Rabil was supposed to be our way of transitioning. In my head, it was a very smooth transition. Paul Rabil, what he eats for breakfast. Oh, Paul Rabil's been traded to the Cannons. The Cannons have their expansion draft. Oh. Smooth. What a smooth transition.
Smooth up the radar.
Smooth it. Fully professional, straight into the expansion draft. Now, I know we've been talking for the last couple of weeks that we're going to start talking about NCAA college lacrosse because that's currently going on. And we're still not quite getting there. We'll try and get there this show, but the expansion draft happened 2 days ago.
Yeah,
2-ish days ago. So
this week, definitely.
Yeah, very recently. So I feel like we've got to touch on there to begin with. Basically, it's a little bit of a backstory about where this expansion draft's come from. Well, like we said, there's so much going on in lacrosse at the minute. We'll end up doing probably a full section on the PLL MLL merger. But basically, the 2 professional lacrosse leagues have merged into one, and one of the teams from Major Lacrosse, is it the Major Lacrosse League or is it Major League Lacrosse?
Yeah, Major League Lacrosse.
Yeah, one of the teams from Major League Lacrosse, the Boston Cannons, coming over to the Professional Lacrosse League. Not as the Boston Cannons, because none of the teams in the PLL are linked to anywhere geographically at the minute. So they're just coming on as Boston's Lacrosse Club. The first player to join them was, because it's getting a whole new roster, first player to join them was Paul Rabil, who traded from the Atlas, who've had a really tough first couple of seasons, and they're looking at a complete rebuild, I think, at the minute, looking at the players that trading for early round college draft picks. And
Rabil has history with the Cannons. So Rabil was first drafted into the MLL back in 2008. He was the number 1 guy coming out of college, number 1 pick. Cannons had tanked the season before, and then that really became the start of a regeneration of that club that went through to sort of 15, 16, 17 playoff losses, 18 losing in the final, 19 losing in the semi, and then last year winning the last ever one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gone through, and they won it in 2014 as well. So it's sort of peaks and troughs of the Cannons. They've been my team since sort of 2003 in the MLL. They've always played a really hard nosed style, even when they had flair players like Mikey Powell or Johnny Christmas. these just absolutely otherworldly talented guys. But it's always been that hard Boston brand of lacrosse.
Yeah.
That proper New England get up in people's faces, make them earn everything they have to get against you. And Coach Quirk, who's come from the MLL team to the Cannons franchise now in the PLL, he was the head coach there for the last 5 seasons. He knows that franchise, and you can see from the picks that they've made that we're going to talk about in a minute that, there's the team identity is going to be the same. They bring in Rabil in a trade, which also brings them a pick in the first round, another pick in the first round of the collegiate draft, which could be massive.
They've got quite a few. No, yeah, you're right. Sorry, that's me.
And then and then with the first pick of the entry draft, they picked Brody Merrill, another former Cannon.
Of course,
possibly the best.
Oh, he's the best
midfielder ever to play the game.
He's the best defensive player to ever play the game, I think. Best defender to ever play.
A prince among gingers as well.
Not bad for a man with half a soul.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where it's sort of like the picks that they've made really show that they're going for that same hard-working blue collar, for the want of a less trite phrase.
Well, seven of their picks are defensive players. So 7 of their 18 picks are defensive players. So, I mean, they've got that area of the pitch. They've got, pretty well sorted now. And of course, we've got to mention they picked 3 face-off guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's trade bait, definitely.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, like Simino was the obvious pick. The guy that picked first, Drew Simino, like he was the best face-off guy available.
Oh yeah, 100%. That wasn't a surprise to me. It was I wasn't even surprised that we got 2 face-off guys, but I was surprised when we picked a third. I thought, when we picked the first few defensive players, I was like, okay, right, that's the defense sorted. And I was like, okay, they've got the face-off sorted, and then we just carried on picking defensive players and face-off guys.
Yeah, it's a statement of intent. I watched the draft yesterday to pick up on all the comments from Coach Quirk, and he was very much he was talking about competition in training camp.
Yeah,
getting the level of competition there straight away. So you need 3 face-off guys to really compete in training camp. To really find out who your best guy is, to put pressure on.
Did they not have? Well, as a face-off guy, I like to pick up face-off guys, even though we're a bit weird, but it's besides the point. But Fowler, did they not pick him up as well?
No, they took Kelly and Simino, and did they take Fowler as well? I think they may have taken everybody.
Yeah, because he was an absolute machine that revolutionized the face-off game in NCAA, basically.
Yeah, they picked Fowler. He was a 14th pick.
Yeah, which is, again, decent, but I think you can't go wrong with them kind of picks. I was gutted for the Water Dogs because they're losing Drenner, and he is a QB.
Isn't this the second? Didn't Water Dogs picked him up in the expansion draft?
Yeah,
and Whitsnakes left him unprotected, and then Water Dogs picked him up, and now Water Dogs left him unprotected again, and the Cannons picked him up.
I can't believe it.
Why are they leaving this guy unprotected?
How many game-winning goals do you need? People start taking you seriously. The first 2 seasons, he's got what, six last second game-winning goals from like 15 games or something. It's absolute madness.
And the best tilt in the game.
Yeah, best tilt in the game. When you search Ryan Drenner, because I was finding the pictures for when you were giving us your picks, your first 3 picks or something, you search Ryan Drenner, it first thing comes up is Ryan Drenner tilt.
Yeah. You look good, you play good. And Water Dogs had that, and we've thrown it away.
I think we should probably quickly just go over, because we've been throwing around words like protected, unprotected, whatever. Just briefly, the way the draft worked was every other team currently in the league had to submit their protected and unprotected rosters. They got to protect, I can't remember,
14 guys and a goalie.
14 guys and a goalie. Everyone else who went unprotected was basically up for grabs by the Cannons. We could just take up to 3 players from each. Yeah, up to 3 players from each team, and apart from that, it was basically a free for all. Have who you want. talking about players who've gone, I've seen a lot of people talking about the team who've probably are going to be the least affected by the players they lost in the expansion draft, probably the Whipsnakes, which is really annoying because I was hoping that maybe something would happen there that would make them a bit weaker for this season, maybe, but no, they were affected the least. They're at the minute, looking at going into the new season pretty strong. So
I thought especially with the Whips, with their defensive unit so tight, I think obviously you're going to have the Cannons with a simultaneous strong base.
You're never going to be able to score against the Cannons with that defense.
But with their brash blasting, like Watmaca and Harvard Yard style, I think maybe they could upset it a bit. You know what I mean? Like take on the Whips a bit because their D is flawless.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's an endorsement of the squad that the Whips have, that people don't feel the need to take their players. You know, it's more about the style that they play and the culture that they have there, where it's, you know, they have superstars, but they don't have 20. You know, they've got like 6, and then they've got all these other guys who do all these other roles, but you wouldn't necessarily pick to start your own team. They're the nice to haves. They're the guys who had depth. They're the guys who had grit in the middle.
Yeah.
And yes, it's really cool to have those guys on your team. But if you're looking to start from scratch, they're maybe not the first guys that you pick.
True. Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. Definitely, I'm just looking at their protected and their unprotected roster here. Yeah, all their big names, the game winners, the guys that you want on your team, really want. They were all obviously protected. And I say obviously, it's not obvious. There were some teams who left some players unprotected, but really had you scratching your head. But yeah, no, not with the Whipsnakes. They're exceptionally tight. This particular draft has not negatively impacted them in any way.
And I thought if the Cannons could get Miles Thompson and Brenner together, I thought that would be like a attack powerhouse where the defense can obviously drive it up the field. It's a smaller field and transition really well and get some goals like Maryland do, like the inside feed and cut and happy days. But they didn't pick him up, which I'm flabbergasted about.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Lyle Thompson is coming across from the MLL in the expansion draft, Cannons got number 1 pick in that. He's that guy. Miles and Lyle play very similar, and also the collegiate draft this year is going to be stacked with offensive talent.
They've got
coming in who's going to be a first-year starter for definite. He's the perfect archetypal PLL attackman.
Well, Cannons are going to pick him up.
He's got great hands. Yeah, maybe. If you've got Miles and you've got Drenner, you pick up a role-playing guy. They need somebody to play on the left.
I can't. But they've got the first pick in the college draft, haven't they? And I just can't. Yeah. I can't not see them picking up anyone who had first pick. It don't matter, if you've got an offense like the Whipsnakes, where to be fair, maybe you don't need him. You're still going to get him. Maybe just because you don't want anyone else to have him.
Well, that's it. You pick him and you trade him. For 3 picks next year.
Yeah,
because,
definitely.
He is a guaranteed.
Yeah.
Professional lacrosse all-star first season.
But I don't think
even in a league with this much offensive talent, he could be a generational talent. I don't know. We'll see how he goes the next couple of years. But the numbers he's putting up at the minute is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think you say you pick him up and then you trade him. I wouldn't trade him just because I don't want him on anyone else's team. I'd pick him up and put him on if I've got no room for him in my team. If I'm happy with my offense, I don't want to upset it. I'm just sticking him on the bench. I don't care how good he is. I don't want to play against him. Yeah.
But then look at Atlas. They had Panel, they had Rabil, they had all the top names, and then they're all going to different teams. They were like the Harlem Globetrotters of lacrosse, and now they're completely new franchise.
It was a team of names rather than a team of players, wasn't it?
Yeah,
actually.
True.
They were big names, but none of those big names were, in their prime. I know I was taking a piss a bit Paul Rabil before, that name carries like so much weight,
Yeah, the man's running.
Rabil's my age though. Like we're the same age.
That's what I mean.
And I'm a broken down old man at 37, and he's still trying to perform at the very highest level in the world.
Yeah, it is interesting you directly comparing yourself to Paul Rabil then, and how you're clearly at the same stage in your lacrosse career.
I mean, We've met a number of times and shaken hands on lacrosse fields all across the world.
Do you give him some
mostly in
tips?
Israel. And he's a giant of a man. It's like you see him in pictures and you go, oh, yeah, he's a big guy. And then you stand next to him and you go, yeah, he's a
big guy. Yeah.
Didn't know they made humans this big. It's like...
it is odd like that, when you see these guys who are right at the top. I've got two more things that I was a bit surprised about for the draft. Just quickly rattle through them. I was a bit surprised they didn't pick Mike Simon. In defence, the way he played last year, I thought he was an absolute standout and a guy that you can build your defence around. However, they picked up Corley and Pulver alongside Merrill, so that's maybe just, this guy rather than that guy.
Yeah, I don't think you can really fault. I do agree with you. He's a very solid defensive player, but I don't think anyone would be, upset to have him on the team. But I don't think you can really fault their defensive picks. Maybe it was a bit this guy or this guy. Toss of a coin. You're talking about defenses to build around, and I think, Brody Merrill is the guy you want to build your defense around if you can build them around anyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. And then the other one was that the goalie pick that they picked up Stover from Whipsnakes, who's been the backup there for the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, the goalie.
I was a bit surprised with that one because Adam Gittleman was on the table.
Yeah,
but what that says to me is that Coach Quirk wants Nick Morocco, who was his goaltender at the Cannons last year in the MLL, to be his number one guy.
Yeah,
the competition will be there with Stover because he's quality when he's played. He's a great shot stopper. He's been a great guy in the squad as well, from everything that we've seen. A real supportive backup. But I think Coach Quirk wants Morocco, who's been like the standout player in the Cannons for the last 3 seasons, 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think it is interesting what you were, because they said it on the actual draft thing about Stover. It's an interesting pick to pick a guy who you didn't really see play last year. To pick, he only picked up one goalie. Obviously, there's still like you say, the entry draft to pick his first choice, but it is a big move to pick up a guy in this expansion draft who you've not really seen after. He played great in college. Who was he at? Which college did he go to? I can't remember now. I know he was very good in the college game. I've seen his highlights, but since then he's not played a whole lot. And last season he hardly played at all. He was the backup, so it's there were a few surprising moves, and I think that was one of them. But like you say, he's probably fair to be another backup.
As Higgs said already, there's plenty of talent coming through. Like there's obviously Connor Curse, the plays for Rutgers, a 6'3", 230-pound attack man machine. So he's coming through as well. And obviously NCAA is packed full of talent, especially with the games that have happened so far.
Yeah, well, speaking of NCAA, I'm looking at the time. It's probably best to move on to that, finally actually talk about it, considering how much has been going on recently. Now, I'm going to be fully open. I've been absolutely swamped with uni work this week. I'm a full week behind on that side of things. I've got no idea what's happened that week. I've tried to do my research as much as possible, but I've not really had the time. So, I'll have to let you two take it away, really. Tell me what's happened.
We want to start with the rivalry, Meredith Hopkins last week.
Absolutely.
I do know about.
Oh yeah, uni work.
Yeah. Well, I took a little break.
Maryland. The oldest rivalry in lacrosse, Maryland versus John Hopkins. I'm obviously being told not to say Maryland. Thank you, Bobby Grove.
Not allowed to say Maryland.
I'm not allowed to say Maryland because Maryland.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously cracking game. John Hopkins, they're kind of coming back into form, but in this game, final result, Maryland 18, John Hopkins 10. But the shots were actually split. Maryland had 41 shots to John Hopkins 32. So it's not, in my opinion, that was just a little fact of like, the John Hopkins of old, they would have been 50% or over, and now they're down at 33%. One point that I think just won it for Maryland, in my opinion, was they're an everything team. They have transition, they have cuts, they have feeds, outside shots, they're shooting from downtown. And I felt John Hopkins were a bit stagnant. They started strong with Joey Epstein, but not much else. They kind of lacked and depended on one or two players throughout the game.
Yeah, when you look at, Hopkins have started late. Mm-hmm. They quite often do. It's a proper serious academic school. Johns Hopkins, they take their leadership of American academia very seriously. Like the Ivy League have done this year, and they're not playing at all.
Yeah,
so Hopkins started late. They didn't play any fall ball. They started late in the spring. In another 4 or 5 weeks' time, this game's a 2-goal game.
Oh, true, actually.
Maryland are rolling right now. They're doing they've got 3 legit possibility first-team All-American attackmen. You've got Leclerc, you've got Dylan Maltz, and Winsauskas as well, who's come in this year and is really showing up. But as our good friend Robin Webb always says, third quarters win or lose games. The third quarter in this, 8-0 to Maryland. Oh. That's the difference right there. That's the difference.
Yeah. And I just thought we'll try and squeeze in one more here for that, lads.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes, go on.
Yeah, I think Syracuse, Vermont needs to be said, especially with the journey that Syracuse has been on. Obviously going down and losing to Army only 2 weeks ago was a shock to the system, and then coming straight back. And they've actually won 3 in a row. Vermont, the final score was Syracuse 17, Vermont 13. But in my opinion, the main difference between these teams, because Vermont looked like they had nice hands, solid hands, and can hit rockets from deep. But the goalkeeper, number 3, Drake Porter, for the senior from Syracuse, is standing on his head game after game after game, and he's impossible to beat unless you have a rocket top cheddar.
Yeah, I saw the game after the Army game. When he was kind of like, what's happened to Syracuse? How did we lose that? And I can't remember if he played, but I remember watching it just because, I thought I was going to see another Syracuse upset. But he was outstanding in that game. I remember he was out of this world.
Yeah. And Kuza come out last night as well and gone up 17-9 on Stony Brook. So they're really rolling now. And
just a blip.
They're always a late season team as well. As the weather improves up there, they get better and better and better and better.
Yeah, Army wasn't how many games into the season were they when we played Army? That must have been one of their earlier games.
I think it was either the first or second game. Yeah. Army. Let's not take it away from Army. Yes.
Oh no. Yeah.
Well, but Army went out there and they frustrated them all across the field. They rode hard. They played really aggressive, dynamic defense, and they finished their shots. And you can't say fairer than that. And Q's let themselves down, and they know that, and they've obviously put some stuff right.
Yeah, our team is strong as Syracuse. Even when they're having a bad day, they can still win a game, even if they're not playing at the best. So no taking away from Army for playing a strong game, and I guess seeing the opportunity and capitalising, of course.
And the back-to-back feed inside from Trimboli was something to get on YouTube and
I think I missed
note of. Yeah,
he's a good player though. He's very solid.
Oh, unbelievable! And do you think,
sorry, no, you go.
I was just going to say, do you think we can squeeze in one more? Because I think finally to finish on.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Steve's giving us a
So the big test for Syracuse is in 2 weeks when they've got Duke.
Oh, that's going to
tell us what sort of team this is.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Duke win in that, by the way.
Me too.
Have Duke lost yet?
No, they're not. They're unbeatable.
No,
final game.
Unbeatable.
Ohio State versus Penn State. Ohio State 13, Penn State 15. Absolutely cracking game. O'Keefe was actually quite quiet, but DJ Malone, that's all I can say for Penn State. First 3 goals, 2 goals and assists. Phenomenal player.
Yeah, 14 points overall, 9 goals, 5 assists, something like that at the end of the game. Unbelievable. What a performance.
Yeah, he was he's just doing everything. And I've seen some shots from outside, like I wouldn't even consider. But yeah, Ohio State just got off slow.
Something.
Yeah, love it from downtown. And like Ohio State came out of the blocks a bit slow, and that's the beauty of lacrosse these days. It's so fast now. If you come out of blocks slow, they couldn't rein it back, and Penn State absolutely just rolled. And the thing I found interesting is that I found O'Keefe, rather than going through the middle and doing left or right, I felt he played more of a quarterback role, feeding a bit more, dragging players through the crease, taking them off ball, dragging the depots away. So they're showing their diversity about similar to Maryland.
Yeah, I think the Penn State Maryland game was one of the last ones I watched actually, and that was a good game just because both teams were pretty rusty. A lot of missed passes. The ball was on the ground a lot. I think that's something we were saying, with the lack of training, but the less training in the build-up, they're not quite prepared. So we're seeing quite a few scrappy games, especially at the beginning of the season. We really were. That was, always quite entertaining to watch when people are a bit off it. There's more ground balls, more misplaced passes. I think teams are starting to sharpen up a bit now, but at least at the beginning of the season, in the first few weeks, that was a nice change. Made me not feel as bad because they can't catch either. But I think just looking at the time now, we're just about coming to the end of that. So cheers, Darragh and Higgs, for that.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we'll be back we've got some more draft stuff coming up soon. More probably stuff about the MLL, PLL. We'll try and get in there. And obviously the NCAA continuing. So Darragh, I hope you keep on top of that if I forget to again.
Don't worry, I will.
But we'll pass it over to the American football guys now. Thank you very much for listening. You'll tune in again next week for us.